According to AdSearch, 15% of visitors use site search and they generate 45% of revenue on average. So this is your highest intent audience that's coming to the site. They're telling you exactly what they want. Their search it's really important to get it right and have a really great experience there. Users who interact with site search, they typically spend 2.6% more than browsers, and users engaging with AI-powered search convert 2 to 3 times higher. We're getting to a stage where obviously they're using ChatGPT, they're using Gemini. They're not going in and asking one-word questions. They'll be asking full questions, sentences, sometimes providing documents to get the answers to their question, like full paragraphs of text or images and such. And we need to be able to cater for those long tail searches essentially on site, and being able to handle that natural language approach and understanding the different types of search they might want to do. It's those additional context pieces that really give the strength to getting the right products in front of the customer and solving the challenge and getting them to check out. 72% of e-commerce sites fail to deliver on consumer expectations for search. And that's not a criticism, that is an opportunity. So I wanted to see this for myself. So I ran some live audits and the pattern was clear. 70% of the ones I was looking at had visual autocomplete on their site. So there's a few searches I found that were missing these features, and 50% had chat, for instance. There's an example there of where I'm seeing a gap in the market for some of these search features. But the more advanced stuff, so understanding what customers mean when they search and like getting the intent, that's where the real gap is. So most of the sites I looked at are not yet utilizing this. And this is where tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and such are stealing a lot of that traffic, because they're able to give that intent. They're able to answer the challenges to that intent within their chat interfaces. For example, a customer can come onto their sites and they can start asking about how do I fix a rusty bicycle chain, for example. That is a good example. They'll get a response in the chat of how to do that and be recommended some products. Right. So when I searched for ASOS, for example, I was going through their site. So I put in a blue dress for a wedding. And there's like, obviously this is a really good search interface. You've got a nice big bar here. You've got good options to sort and filter and such. And one of the great things here is that it is giving bridesmaids dresses. So it understands the context of wedding and it's actually giving the bridesmaids dresses. So this is a really good example of search done well. So yeah, I thought I'd show this one first. Like, it's a really good answer to the question. So when I searched for blue dress, you obviously get blue dresses, but blue dresses for a wedding, like you've got that extra context around the event. And it understands matching that with bridesmaid dresses. So that's a full natural language query. They've essentially turned that query into adding the context and actually giving a really good answer. I did another one. I went over to Sofology. And on this one, I searched for a comfortable sofa for a small living room. So I'll go through this, what a good search looks like a little bit later. But yeah, they've got some great suggestions being shown in terms of the drop down. Yeah, one of the things I noticed here, and this is obviously an opportunity for them, is they're returning 17,000 results for this particular phrase. And obviously that's not really honed in on the item I was giving them in the chat. So there's an opportunity here for them to really filter down and present some of their more comfortable sofas. Obviously some of these are a bit larger. You can see these are large rooms. So yeah, didn't really get the context around it was a small living room. This is just one example. Sofology aren't the only people to be doing this. Many brands are missing out on this contextual awareness within their search. And it's something that I think is really useful. And if you look at the way that we're optimizing for long tail searches and that sort of thing, we're doing it in SEO. We need to be doing the same thing on site in the search as well. So yeah, so today I'm going to show you how to audit your own site search in under 10 minutes. And we'll look at what the best brands are doing to capture that intent and create better experiences. And yeah, you can follow along with your own site and spot your biggest opportunities. But before we begin, I wanted to share our newsletter. So if you want more insights like this, there's a link I'll add to the chat and to the description around our free weekly, specifically for DCC leaders newsletter. So you can grab that if it's useful. What I want to move on to now is my 7-point site search audit. So the first thing you want to focus on is, of course, search bar prominence. And this is how visible is that search bar. So if we just look at the past two examples there, you've got a really nice big bar on the ASOS site, but a smaller one on the Sofology site. And that search is probably going to be used more and more as time moves forward, especially with Gen X. Essentially, they prefer to search. They find browsing and delving into those deeper categories, there's a bit more friction. So yeah, search is going to come more and more to the fore, which is why we want to have a nice big search bar as an example, here's a site that we made from Birmingham Bullring. So we've got a nice big visual search, front and center on desktop and mobile. So it's the first thing they see. They know that that's the core feature for finding any information about the shops and things to do and restaurants and such. Yeah, so you want to obviously make sure that that search bar is wide enough to type a full query. You want to make sure you've got a nice clear search icon so it's really obvious around the fact it is a search and what they can do in that search. So, for example, on the Birmingham Boring one, we gave them these little hints that tell them what they can do. So, and the other thing is it in the header? Is it persistent or is it buried? So is it easy to get back to? Obviously, it's a core feature. You want to make sure it's always there and really easy to access as well. So I would say on these ones, so obviously ASOS is doing pretty well. Sofology, maybe an opportunity there. Good thing is obviously it's there, it's clear in the header. It's maybe a little bit small. Maybe advise them to make this a little bit larger and see if that works for them. And then obviously these are great searches anyways. It's just opportunities to do even better. So the next thing on the framework is autocomplete quality. So this is when you're searching and you begin to type in your search query, you want to make sure that as you're searching, kind of you're getting those suggestions. Sofology is doing a really good job on this. Obviously, you want to search sofa. I'm already getting suggested the sofas in the site search right there. So it's doing that match against the characters. So great. What you want to make sure is obviously that they are not just matching text and showing text, but they are visual as well. So a great example here on Sofology, they've got all the images being shown nicely for those products. So you can start to really see those things in real time, even if it's kind of the smaller version. I don't know if we've got one on ASOS. They've just got plain text, which seems to be. But yeah, if it's like a smaller icon, at least there's something that gives an indication of what it is I'm about to click on without having to go through and load up a whole new page. Yeah, really good to have those close suggestions in there. It's a good idea to hone in the top 3 results on what really is the closest match and then have supporting items around it. So, for example, when we were doing this on Bullring, if we just started typing in here, we get some examples being shown. So we've got the different categories. So we've got the exact match, so boots in shop, for example. But then we've got all the different categories because they've got a split search at the moment. Popular searches as well. So things that others have done, you can reference that information there. So it's a really helpful auto suggest around their query. Cool. According to Ad Search, so 15% of visitors use site search and they generate 45% of revenue on average. So this is your highest intent audience that's coming to the site. They're telling you exactly what they want. And yeah, their search it's really important to get it right and have a really great experience there. So for example, we have, let's have a look, Abbott Line. So here I've done, it's coming up. If I do a search for gold, we can see a nice suggestion here on the text matches, but then I'm also getting the reference images on here as well. So I thought I'd show they've got this full screen experience for search, which is really nice. It's front and center. You know that this is the core experience. So really easy to go through and narrow down and find the search results you want. Yeah, but a great example of guiding customers to the right product faster. So the next thing on my agenda is the query understanding. So this is essentially where you have things like typos and synonyms and being able to ask natural language queries. Typos, obviously, can you deliberately misspell a product name, for example? So, for example, typing trainers and getting the A and the I the wrong way around. If your customer comes to the site and they're searching for sneakers, for example, that's a synonym. So you're synonym for trainers and sneakers, so making sure you count for those alternate spellings. So it's really important to have those matches that aren't exact matches. So if they mistype on the keyboard, aren't sure how something is spelled, then we need to make sure we're being easy on the customer and giving them the right answers in front of them, despite the fact they didn't get the keyword perfect. Does the search still find the solutions? That's a good way to understand. Is it able to suggest those products to the customer? The next thing is to search for a problem and not a product. So can you do the natural language part? So this is where, for example, the rusty bicycle chain, or I'm looking for a blue dress for a wedding. I'm looking for furniture for a small balcony. It's those reference pieces, the small and the wedding and the the rusty bicycle chain. Like it's answering those challenges with your products. So the modern customer now, we're getting to a stage where obviously they're using ChatGPT, they're using Gemini. They're not going in and asking one word questions on these, well, rarely going on these NLPs. They'll be asking full questions, sentences, sometimes providing documents to get the answers to their question, like full paragraphs of text or images and such. And we need to be able to cater for those long tail searches essentially on site. Being able to kind of handle that natural language approach and understanding kind of the different types of search they might want to do. So it could be something that gives a bit of context around kind of size. It could be the color. It could be the event they're going to. It could be the price they want to spend. So I'm a gift for my mum under £100 or something like that. It's those additional context pieces that really give the strength to getting the right products in front of the customer and solving the challenge and getting them to check out, essentially. So and then, so there's a bit of a vocabulary gap as well. So, for example, if your customer's searching for like a sparkly going out top, but you've tagged it as a sequin embellished blouse, and then there's a gap in the NLP, and having a natural language layer in there that interprets those queries does kind of help. So you can get search engines that will match those things together. Yeah, worth including. So, real question is, does your search understand that intent? Does it just match keywords? So is it extracting the keywords and then just presenting the matches based on those keywords? So that's where the biggest conversion gains lie, is really because then you're putting the right product in front of the customer. So the goal here is from those 17,000 products to have the right product as number one for that customer. So a good one here is to demo this kind of in practice is richer sounds. So I did a search here for headphones and deliberately misspelt it with an F, but somebody could misspell it. So we're still getting the right answers essentially. So their search is great at doing this and giving the right answers for the misspelling. So yeah, example in practice of that sort of thing. So yeah, great. It's typo tolerance essentially. And you've got levels to this as well. So is it just one character wrong? Is it up to like 3 characters wrong? You can kind of hone and tweak it depending on your kind of products, and it will be different for every site. But yeah, typically kind of in that range of 1 to 3 is a nice starting point to kind of work with. And then, another one I was going to show is on the Curtsy site. So on this one, they had a search. Well, they found that their searches for all stars were returning star pattern jewelry and such. So after they added their semantic search in here, they found that they had a 10.7% lift in search conversions. So when people searching all stars, obviously all stars is brand of shoe. So yeah, they're bringing those results to the front. They've still got the other stuff in there, but yeah, this shoes are getting referenced higher. So yeah, it has a great impact. Now, the next thing on the list is zero results handling. So on this example, so it's a key moment to keep customers engaged. Now, obviously, you're not going to have a search like that. It would be something else. But what you want to do is get into the analytics and really look in and see how, of all the searches that were done, how many return zero. And then from those, once you've got those, kind of understand kind of what were the top searches. So understanding how many of like each type of search returns zero results. And that, if you can solve that, then obviously you can get more products in front of the customer and answer their questions better. So the good thing here is obviously to suggest alternatives. So maybe they've asked for a competitor product, maybe showing popular products as part of those suggestions. It just keeps the customer in that buying journey, and keeps them engaged. So Showpo, for example, they have visually similar items. So we've got these kind of search for Jeffrey's maxi dress. We've got the maxi dress there, but we've also got similar items as well. It's good to have recommended items in there as well, so that if it's not quite what they're looking for, we can suggest them kind of the closest thing. Otherwise, they're just going to bounce off to another site or off to the LLMs or wherever they're going to go to find the answer to their question. So another one, Grove. So they map the searches for brands that they don't carry. So search for Q-tips, and the results they come back are cotton swabs. So they've done that kind of the match for the competitor brands, and then they're suggesting their sustainable alternatives, which for them gave a 20x ROI. So it can have a great impact on your sales if you really kind of work out these searches and think of search as a real feature that needs to be evolved and maintained and kept up to date. So the opportunity here is around really just making sure there's no dead ends. So no results found. Every one of these is a potential sale that is just waiting to be captured. So yeah, a good example is, let's have another one. It's a small living room, 5-type small living room. There's Sofology. They unfortunately they don't cater for this style of requests. This is a challenge for customers. So they'll come to a site and they'll have an actual contextual challenge. Now it's obvious, obviously, when you come to this search, they're kind of suggesting color type, material. That's what they're suggesting you come for. But realistically, if I was coming to this, I have a smaller living room where I want a small sofa, then I'm going to want to put that in there and see some small 2-seater sofas, 3-seater sofas. So filter options. So are the filters intuitive, relevant? Are they helping users narrow down results? So after the user's searching, what filters are available? So have a look, kind of go through your filters, understand and count them, see how many there are, covering all of the kind of search queries that you're getting at the moment. Are they helpful? Review those on a cadence over the months, and just make sure you're keeping those up to date with kind of what users are actually searching for. Good filters really help customers kind of self-serve to the right product. But that said, a great search that does that for you is even better. So if you can have a search that kind of clicks the filters or filters down the products anyway, that's going to be even better. Good example for this, just going back to the ASOS example. So do the blue dress for the wedding, their filters, they've got really advanced filters on kind of what you can go through and pick out kind of what you want to filter down those queries even further. So the next item is, actually I was going to show Leon Furniture as well. So Leon Furniture, so this is obviously a different brand, different type of products. So you do search in here for small living room. They give a table in the auto suggest, and we're getting some good results in there as well for kind of small furniture pieces. So example of, they've catered for that kind of search experience, but also their filters. So we've got all of the kind of good filters down the side here, lots of options to choose from, a nice kind of range picker for price, and then kind of exactly what you're looking for. So they've really gone far in helping the users filter down to exactly what they need. Even these width and height and length, this is really useful stuff for somebody who's got a very specific problem. So back to our list. So the next thing is the voice and visual search. So are you enabling modern search from inputs beyond traditional text input? So this is voice and being able to upload images or use your camera to search. I used this the other day. I was in a pub just outside Pinewood Studios, and there was a lamp on the table, and it was a really nice kind of battery powered lamp, kind of touch to on off, nice kind of style. And I've got a problem with my conservatory at home. I've got no kind of center lighting on the table, and I wanted to get some things. I saw that, I'd kind of snapped it, and I was using Google image search. But essentially, if you've got a visual search that enables customers to do the same thing, then you can search to get through to that product as well. And it's a good idea to then also, with all your images, make sure they're well tagged so that if they do come through an avenue like Google image search or the LLMs or such, then essentially that information is able to be referenced and used to help them direct them back to your site. But for an on-site experience, then obviously you want to have kind of those little hints. For voice, like, is there a microphone icon that kind of shows you that they can kind of talk to it? This functionality is now built into a lot of the browsers, so you can just essentially click and it will use the built-in voice functionality to convert what they say into text. And obviously it's used on mobile as well. So just making it really easy to kind of use that input. And then, is there a camera icon for uploading the kind of the visual or image search, so that they can then use an image to find the product that they're looking for? So interesting finding I had here was, of all of the top brands that I searched for, and many of them are using these kind of some pretty advanced features on their search, that none of them have this kind of image search functionality. So this is really wide open territory to have a better customer experience. There are sites out there that are using it, and many sites. But of all the ones I was looking at over the last few days, I was quite surprised that none of them actually had it. So there's quite a few having a gap in the market for quite a big gap in the market there for brands to kind of jump in and kind of present that better experience. So, and the stats are there. So 62% of Gen Z and millennials, excuse me, prefer visual search over retail tech. The early movers here will have that real advantage because there's a huge crowd that are using this kind of tech already. Right. So back to the list. So the next thing is, or the final thing is, chat and conversational handoff. So this is, so when you're in search, or you're looking at a product, or you're midway through your checkout experience, like any of those places, there should be an opportunity to take what you're doing and move it into a chat. And it needs to be more than just starting a chat. It should take the context of what's happening at that point in time. So what did they search for? What product they're looking at? What page are they on? All of those things, and feed that into a AI agentic conversation. So I say agentic here specifically because old-fashioned chat with the kind of the decision tree of questions you can ask, or really simple kind of keyword matching against questions and answers, is not going to perform. You might get some matches that are great, but most of the time that's actually quite a negative experience, and it's really hard to get an answer because it's just not intelligent. Whereas with the agentic chat, where you're using like the AIs like Gemini, the large language models, Gemini, ChatGPT, using their models to actually train on your data and answer the questions, that creates such a better experience in terms of you're able to actually have a real conversation with the users. And I don't actually know if I've got it open, but there's a good example here of, I've got most of these open, but Direct Ferries have a ferry booking assistant that we help them build, and they're now taken in-house and they're evolving. But you can basically, just say like, how do I get from London to Paris? And obviously they're a ferry booking operator, but they've taken this chat and conversational handoff piece, then they've just put that's front and center. Essentially, they've replaced the booking agent with that conversational experience. So it's a real new take on how to interact with their systems. So you're able to essentially search and do that conversationally. So there, for example, you saw my request around how do I get from London to Paris, and we can see the results coming back. It says there's no direct ferry routes, so you're going to have to get to one of these ports, and they've integrated this great map which shows all the routes that you might be able to take. So I want to go from New Haven, and you're then able to kind of ask the follow-up questions. So it says New Haven is available. What date would you like to travel? I'll say next Friday. How much will that cost? And this is kind of it's a complete replacement for kind of searching for routes. So how many passengers will there be? So there's 2 passengers. It's asking all of those things that I would have probably needed to do in a chat, but it's able to say, so there's like 1 car. So conversationally, we can essentially get that same result. And having this map feature is great because obviously you wouldn't know that there are actually so many ports. But so once it's done the search, it's using their APIs to get the actual data and showing that, in real time there. So we've got some results from their APIs, their backend, and it's able to give me like a great answer to my question. So I've got the right routes, I've got the right passengers, car, it's giving me the ferry operator, it's giving me the price, and I can just go ahead and book these if I want to right now, which I like do right now. So so the real thing there is like obviously looking like, is there a chat widget? Is it agentic? Can a search lead into a conversation? Like 50% of sites tested have a chat feature that we were looking at. And the next step is really connecting that search to the chat so customers can get seamless help and actually see that as well. And a bonus thing here is really thinking about when you're doing these searches and these kind of giving the results, giving this auto suggestions, is making sure that it's instant. Sophology's got a great one here. It's amazingly nice and speedy. It needs to be that quick, especially on like test your site on 3G or 4G and see how it performs. So I'm going to go into these in a little bit more detail. ASOS. So they've got, it's a really nice search. We've got a nice prominent search bar. We've got a nice autocomplete. I would add images to it. But nice fast autocomplete in there. It does the query understanding. It's got the kind of contextual relevance. I think it could be a little bit better. So when I did kind of under £50, Yeah, it was giving me results that weren't, so they could probably add to that as well. The zero results handling, so they've got good handling on there. There always seems to be something in the results being shown. They've got the extensive filters, lots of options to choose from there. They don't have the voice or visual search. There's an opportunity there to add that in and get a bit more of the market. And yeah, the chat is really a help section only. So there's no kind of interactive concierge or in this one I would do some sort of fashion assistant to enable people to try things on using their camera, which is much easier to do these days. Yeah, so yeah, excellent semantic understanding. Yeah, overall doing a really good job. ASOS show that you don't need to be too fancy with this, but they're giving a good answer with every search. So the next one I was going to look at was Nespresso. So with theirs, so I'm just going to type coffee for now, so we can get through to the search. But we can see the auto suggest is there. They've got nice images of the items I search for, and that auto suggest. The search bar prominence. So we have lost the search bar now. So let me just close that. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be a way to get back to it. That's a little bit challenging. So I think I would have to go back to the homepage to get back to the search. But yeah, the also was also completing. It was showing the fast product images, handles typos from what I was looking at as well. So that's good. And yeah, so yeah, good results handling. There's no voice or visual handling, so there's an opportunity for them there too. The chat and help section, so they've got one here. Yeah, it's conversation with us. It's there. I think it could be a little bit more advanced in terms of what it's doing. So obviously, it's just going straight in for a blank conversation. And yeah, but they were getting good kind of results in terms of what was being displayed. I'm just going through these a bit quickly because yeah, just in the interest of time. But yeah, so yeah, overall, it was a good search engine that was being used. And yeah, using things like strong coffee, it actually gave good results. So yeah, it understood a bit more about the context. Morphology I've talked about a few times, so I'll kind of cover them. So yeah, search bar provenance is maybe not as prominent as I would make it for them. I think some of this stuff could be kind of collapsed down and the search could take center stage. I think it'd be interesting test for them to do, kind of combining a kind of ask anything with hiding these and just having the search straight center. And then, yeah, the autocomplete, they've got really nice kind of the way it loads. You've got kind of your skeleton loading there. If I actually search, it does tend to load. And then nice results, nice images. They've got nice query understanding. So the only things they didn't cover was the extra contextual pieces. So around kind of a small living room, kind of the understanding those extra pieces like I've got shown here. But yeah, so zero results. So they don't really get zero results because they just seem to return everything. But that's maybe just as challenging for the customer because it's not really honed in on what they were looking for. The filters are pretty good. No chat or visual search. Yeah, it's overall it's a good search interface. A couple of opportunities there. I think they could add as well. So yeah, so that is kind of the overall audit, should we say? But I wanted to give you this search maturity model so you can kind of do this yourselves. So obviously, level 1, basic, you want to see, can you do keyword matching? Can you make sure that directly you can match on keyword for specific products and it gives relevant results? And then can you do text autocomplete? So having an auto suggest, fill out the kind of the remainder of the product names, and do you have some basic filters? So that's kind of the foundations, getting good product matches in the results and being able to filter them and show those autocompletes. So level 2 is kind of adding that visual autocomplete. It's really easy to do. You upload your image, you feed it through one of the AI APIs. That will give you back the context of what is in that image, and you can use that to search your database of products. You also want to have typo tolerance in there, so being able to have like those 1 to 3 characters of misspellings, and make sure you're doing something smart around the zero results handling. So that's level 2. Really easy to get those things in as a foundation. Then it starts to get a little bit more challenging. So here's where you'd need an intelligent platform, semantic or an NLP understanding. Now this can just be a layer in front of your existing search. You could feed the search through to Gemini, tell it what you want it to filter in terms of your search, and then you've got a nice AI interface into your existing search. Doesn't have to be too advanced. That's a nice kind of introduction level in getting this stuff introduced, and it's a good stepping stone to the next thing because it gets you thinking about these things. And understanding context, it's able to do that. It's able to filter out kind of you would need a more intelligent platform, but you'd need to have your search results tagged up in such a way, kind of you've got the size, you've got those other pieces, so that it's able to say, right, this is a two-seater sofa, and filter down to those smaller items. Yeah, and then personalized results. Obviously, if I come back to the site, we haven't really spoken about this, but I should be able to kind of look for things like the things I've already bought and liked, and things that would complement the things I would buy. Obviously, if I've just bought a sofa, do I want to buy another sofa? It's those kind of those kind of suggestions. So I'm sticking on the sofas here, but Amazon had a great example here where it was like, you search for a toilet seat. Would you like another toilet seat? It's like, I'm not that into toilet seats. I just want the one. But yeah, but things to go with it. So it could be the the matching furniture for the bathroom, or that sort of thing. Making sure you have that contextual awareness around what it is that they would like in there as an addition to the things that they've already bought. So that's the real kind of level of personalization. And then you've also got the kind of the follow-ups that come from that. So when you're sending emails, say you left something in your basket, you search for this or whatever, are you still interested? Doing a bit more research of what ad did they come in and what were they looking, what was the context around what they were looking for? And actually you can deliver a bit more honed responses in terms of what the follow-ups are to get people back into that chat and back into that checkout flow. Next level is the conversational. So this is where we're integrating things like the voice search, the visual search, and being able to then hand off to the chat and have AI-powered product finding. So the AI is doing the search rather than the customer. So they just present them with their problems. So I've got a small living room, for example, and then it goes off and it finds the matching products. Like that's a great experience for a customer. But it's the customer service you would have got years ago, where you go in and say, or even now, if you go in store, like you're speaking to an actual customer service rep and you say, look, this is the challenge I've got a small living room. Like they're asking those questions and those follow-ups and interrogating your challenge to match you with one of their products, and then doing upsells as well. So it's all powered in that same experience, and making sure that you're buying from them and not a competitor. They're well trained in getting kind of all of the pieces of information extracted from you, getting your contact details, making sure you come back in, all those sorts of things. Yeah, it's the next level up, and you can do that now through those agentic conversations, and really, yeah, create a really memorable experience for the customer. So the last thing is as a bonus level, it's the insights. So one of the clever things you can do is actually look at kind of what the customers have searched for, and so you can get some real kind of qualitative insights out of there. So it's not just the number of people who search for things, you can get that through your analytics, but it's kind of like, what was it they wanted to buy when they came onto the search, and how did they want to buy it? So I need it by Friday. It's kind of those extra pieces. Do you do next day delivery? Without those extra pieces, you just don't have that context when somebody comes to the site. Like you may not be able to see, not as many people ask the customer service questions to find out those things. Like they'll just see, oh, you don't do next day delivery, I'll go somewhere else. Like it's that quick. You have to be able to answer those things in real time. And if you're doing it conversationally, then you can see how many people actually wanted it before they bounced. So that then gives you insight on how to change your services to get a better customer experience and sell more. And yeah, what challenge they wanted to solve. So this is a really interesting point where you can take your products and actually elevate them to the next level. So it's like I'm looking for light bulbs for my Ford Focus or something, and actually having it say, like, give not only the piece of like the matching product, but actually how to fit those light bulbs and how they can, like, having the extra pieces in that conversation that, like, directing them to the how-tos and the articles. And not only that, but when you do that, those same articles, the how-tos, the videos, that's the stuff that gets referenced in the large language models like Gemini and ChatGPT and drives them back to the site. So yeah, it's worth looking at those insights and then building the content around that. Helps you understand, like, what content should you be creating, And also when they come through to the site, if you're tracking it conversationally, you can track the UTM parameters and see what ad they came in on and tie all those things together, which really creates some really rich information in terms of what you know about the customer and how you can help them better. Yeah, so that's the search maturity model. Obviously, there's a lot here. If anybody wants this, happy to kind of across. Yeah, but the real thing here is that the conversion impact is users who interact with site search, they typically spend 2.6% more than browsers. And users engaging with AI-powered search convert at rates that are 2 to 3 times higher. So yeah, it's a clear audience there that is giving you rich intent and wanting, like, they're ready to buy. One of the things we're learning is obviously people who are actually getting through to the sites at the moment are more and more, they're just willing to ready to buy. They've done their research through the LLMs and Gemini and ChatGPT and such, and they get, by the time they get to the site, they're much further down the funnel. Even if they've been looking at your articles and your content through the LLMs, they're much farther down the funnel. So so what brands are seeing? So there's a clothing retailer called Everlane. They reduced their no results by 45%, and they got a 5% increase in conversions and increased click-through rate by 8%. Environmentally friendly brand, Grove Collaborative, we saw that, so they had a 20 times ROI by mapping their competitor brand searches to alternatives. So things like the Q-tips, for example, mapping to cotton buds. It is very high intent traffic. It's every improvement in the search experience translates directly to revenue. And if I understand that implementing search is where it gets a bit more involved. So you need the right search platform, you need the right data structures, you need the right tuning. If you're watching this thinking, we should capture more of this intent, but we don't know where to start, we do free AI audits. It starts with a 30-minute call to understand your goals, and then we'll look at your setup and show you kind of what's possible. Is practical advice on where your opportunities are. So quick wins versus bigger investments. So the quick wins for this week are really adding those visual images to the autocomplete. It just gives a hint and helps users see what it is they're about to click through to. Test your typo tolerance, improve zero results on your search results pages. So make sure that there's less scenarios where you get zero results. So find out what the most common ones are and fix those first. Add the conversational commerce widgets. So that actually enables you then to have that conversation with the customer. You can start off just having it as an FAQ layer, but giving it information to your products and being able to link through to the right things. If you can integrate it with your APIs and your search and even your checkout, that's going to push things even further down the line and convert more of those customers. It's it's an area for growth right now because we've got this new tech that obviously everyone's hearing about AI all the time. It's a really powerful tool and it can do this stuff really well. So bigger investments would be implementing that semantic search. So adding voice search and adding the visual camera search, and then connecting that search into the chat directly, so you get a lot more of that context fed through. There's the realms are endless there in kind of opportunity. There's so much you can do to create a better experience. So if there are any sites you'd like me to audit, then please do share those with us. We'd love to hear about what your current search solution is. Are you using Shopify Native, Algolia, something else? And has anybody tried the NLP test that I showed? I'd love to hear about what your findings are. And if you were doing this, what would you prioritize? Would it be better autocomplete or a better chat? Let us know in the comments. And so just to recap, 15% of your visitors are using site search, but those 15% generate 45% of your revenue. So that's from ad search research. This audience is your highest intent customers. 72% of e-commerce sites fail to deliver consumer expectations for search. So all sites I've tested had opportunities for voice search, visual search, and true NLP understanding. That's where the next wave of opportunity is. There's a gap between good search and great search. It's not budget, it's understanding what your customers are really trying to find. Yes, we will take a bit of budget to those things, but it's well worth the investment in terms of return on investment. ASOS showed us that obviously the blue dress for a wedding returns the bridesmaid dresses. That's a great example. They captured that intent and they made that sale easier. It isn't necessarily about having the fanciest technology. It's about just creating a better experience that helps customers find what they need and buy those things. So 2 ways to take this further. Obviously, you've got the AI audit request. If you want us to audit your site, show you exactly where the biggest opportunities are to capture more intent and sell more. So if you'd like to book a call, we can do a quick review of your site and show you what we would prioritize first. If you're not quite ready for that yet, if you're still exploring, do join our newsletter. So every week we share insights like this, practical stuff for D2C marketing for the leaders who want to create better customer experiences. So both links are in the chat. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.